panic, stress. These were my immediate responses.
And when I woke up this next morning, this is what I saw.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Hey guys, I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much for those who are watching. We really, really appreciate you guys joining us on this beautiful journey that we have with our kids. We do want to share a little story with you today, and it involves what happened the last week. Basically, just the whole family was sick. And
minus you.
Yeah, minus me, but I'm sick.
Tom has some sort of like weird immune system thing happening.
Yeah.
But now you're getting sick.
Like literally a week after, and then I'm sick.
So random.
But no, it's good though. At least I can take a little break.
I guess let's start from the beginning.
All right.
Okay. So basically, this started on a Saturday. Peanut was feeling a little like, off. And people could sense it, right? We were like, she's not like her normal bubbly self. Like she seems a little run down. Mm-hmm. Sunday comes, same sort of situation, right? We're like, she's not feeling the greatest. She wasn't eating as much. There was just a bunch of things that were like, something's wrong.
Yeah. So we took it easy. Like we didn't really do anything too crazy. It was okay. You just rest and hopefully the next day will be better.
Yeah. So everything was fine. But then all of a sudden.
Yeah. Okay. So this was on the Monday now. I woke up early in the morning and because little Peanut was up. And so I was going to her room to go change her. And all of a sudden, she just like started scratching her groin area. Really, really, really bad. And I was like, oh, interesting. You don't do that all too often. So I took a peek. And I kid you not, it was like red. All over her groin, inner thigh. And I was just like, I froze because I didn't know what to do. And so I was just like, oh, okay. This is really, really interesting. I've never seen this. I've never gone through this. And so, okay, all right, let's just act like nothing's happening. Don't make a big deal. Mama Bear was sleeping.
Well, because I was feeling run down and not feeling the best either, right? So Tom, thankfully, let me sleep in.
Exactly. And so, okay, so I got her for breakfast. She ate great. Everything was fine. And then afterwards, I checked her again. I was like, hey, little Peanut, can you like lift up your shirt and let me see your back and stomach? And it like was red all over. Yeah. It was like it looked like when you see a globe on the map and you see a bunch of like North America, South America line, it was like just a bunch of geographies all over her body. It was crazy. I kid you not. And so again, still trying to stay cool. Not going to panic anybody.
I'm sleeping like a baby upstairs still.
Mama Bear sleeping like a baby. I'm trying to act like, oh yeah, I've seen this before. This is all good. And she's starting to itch a lot. And so I was like, okay, let's go downstairs. You go watch some TV. I'm going to do some research. See what the heck is going on down there. And so, yeah, I found out it was hives. And so I was like, okay, how do you treat hives? And then it was, okay, you do an oatmeal bath. So I was like, okay, great, oatmeal bath. When Mama Bear wakes up, I'm going to tell her everything.
So I wake up and then I come downstairs and you're literally like, well, Peanut's got hives. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like, again, I'm stressing now. Like, I am in immediate stress. Yeah, and it was just, like, very alarming. So I'm, like, looking at her, trying not to, I'm just like, okay, she doesn't need to know anything. Like, I'm fine. Like, hey, like, let me take a look-see here. I want to see your belly and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, then you're telling me all the information. I'm like, is it chicken pox? Is it, like, what is it?
Yeah.
And you graciously had to just calm me down.
Yeah, I was like, nobody panic.
We're gonna do an oatmeal bath. It's fine.
Exactly. I saw on Google, let's do oatmeal bath. So like
Dr. Google told us oatmeal bath.
So like I'm like literally scooping a bunch of oatmeal into this blender. I'm like blending up a bunch of oatmeal and into the little thing. So apparently oatmeal bath is supposed to help with the itchiness and the swelling of the hives. So that's why we're doing oatmeal bath. And I'm like making this oatmeal soup basically in this giant bowl. I put all the grind up oatmeals in there. I put a bunch of like filtered cold water. And then I'm just like mixing it up. I'm squeezing it. I'm massaging it to get all the whatever out. And then we're like, hey, little Peanut, want to go take a bath? So it's like, she was like, oh, sure. And so luckily she loved the oatmeal bath. She thought it was so much fun. Because like she would put all the toys underneath and you couldn't see it. It was actually pretty cool. Like I wouldn't actually mind taking an oatmeal bath.
But there was also the issue of, okay, well, she's got a cold. And we can't do warm oatmeal bath.
Right.
So
Yeah, and they
how
recommend...
long are we going to leave her in here?
And they recommended a cold, like, oatmeal bath. They don't recommend warm oatmeal bath for some reason.
Well, you probably cook the oatmeal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if I start cooking, you might as well eat at that point.
Yeah, seriously. So we had that dilemma of, like, how long do we leave her in here? She's kind of got a cold. She has a runny nose. Like, what do we do here, right?
I know.
So we struggled with that for a little bit.
Yeah, it was a pretty big dilemma. All right, so after the oatmeal bath, we had lunch. And it didn't really help at all, I would say.
Well, at first we were kind of like optimistic. We're like, yeah, like she's not itching as much. Like it's fine.
Yeah, it's like I think it's doing something. And then all of a sudden it just got really, really bad.
Yeah, and so after lunch we were like,
what do we do? Like
what's happening now?
Is
like
starting to turn into like a tomato, basically.
Yeah, and like the hives were protruding from her skin at this point.
Yeah, and it was spreading into her arms now.
Yeah.
It's like slowly climbing
everywhere.
up. It was everywhere.
It was everywhere. So after lunch, after all of this protrusions of these hives are breaking out, we're like, okay, what is causing this? Like, we were narrowing down foods. We're like, did she eat anything different? Like, what? She's had the same stuff. Like, did she get a bite? Did she, we were going through everything. We had no idea what was happening. And it was a holiday Monday.
Oh yeah, we forgot to mention that. And it was a holiday.
So we're like, crap, like we can't do a walk-in. We could go to emergency, but are we going to? We were already there.
We were literally there a couple weeks ago, and our emergency is about 3 to 5 hour wait time.
Yeah, at least. And then the worst times that we have to go. Anyway, so we were just like, how do we not go to emergency at this point? So we were trying to go through all of our options. What do we do? It's a holiday. And then so finally I was like, you know what? Like, I'm just going to search and see what's open. Thankfully, Walmart was open and their pharmacy was also open. So I'm like, okay, after lunch, packed up Peanut, and I'm like, we gotta go. Like, we gotta go see a pharmacist right now. So we go to the pharmacy. And it's a very interesting thought to bring a child that looks like they have leprosy through a busy Walmart. If anyone's ever done that, I mean... the looks, and I'm like, come on, little lady, like, not little lady, I'm like, come on, Peanut, like, let's go, like, keep walking, keep walking.
Swollen up and red, just, where am I?
I'm just like, oh, no. So anyways, so we get there. The pharmacist is like, she needs Benadryl now. And I'm like, okay. So I'm freaking out, right? Because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is really serious. Like, what is happening? And she said it was most likely something that she ate. And again, we were like, what did she eat? Like, we had no idea. Like, we didn't try really anything new. And also, if it was a food allergy, like, it happened throughout the night. Like, if she would have eaten something, you'd think it would have happened right away. So we were just so confused. But the pharmacy had mentioned to get Benadryl every 6 hours, 4 times in the next 24 hours. That's what the pharmacist told me. So I get the Benadryl. We go home. I immediately give her this. She loved it.
She absolutely loved it.
She's like, bubble gum. Like, man, I want more medicine.
A little foreshadowing. Throughout the week, she was like, I need more medicine.
Yeah, we're like, she's addicted to drugs.
All right, to pause you right there, if anyone has ever seen The Hitch.
The Hitch? Oh, Hitch.
Just Hitch.
Not the Hitch.
Sorry, Hitch. Hitch with Will Smith and Kevin James. There was a scene where, what's the character's name with Will Smith's character's name?
Hitch.
Hitch first. Okay, so this is when Hitch had just he's actually going on a date with this girl, and it's like at a fish
it's a seafood market or something like that,
cooking class and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, like, this girl turns to him, he's just like, I think we need to go to the doctor or something like that. And so he's like, Hitch is like, yeah, I'm just like totally fine. It's all good. It's like, no, I think we need to go now. And like everybody around him like looked at him, like, no, you should probably go. He's like, oh, sure, whatever.
Yeah, his ear was like super swollen.
Exactly. Yeah, so the girl brings him to like, just like a Shoppers in Canada. It's just Shoppers. I don't know what the States is called, but it's in the Shoppers. And then he's like, yeah, blah, do, 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 do. And he like looks in the mirror. He's like, whoa, damn. So he's like grabbing all the Benadryls. He's like chugging it.
And then he's like, come on! Like, sucking it back.
And then by the end of the night, he's just like...
drunk off Benadryl.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that kind of reminded me of that scene.
It reminded of that for sure. Yeah, it's so funny. That's a great movie. Hitch. It's a great movie.
It's one of my favorites.
Whatever you think about Will Smith, I mean, put that aside.
Oh, right. Yeah, so true. Yeah.
Good movie.
Yeah.
Anyways, so we get home. Thankfully, she loved taking the medicine because it tasted so good.
Yeah.
So that's where we were at this point. Thankfully, the Benadryl helped.
Yeah,
right?
It did help with the swelling, the itchiness, and it was great. And so the Benadryl worked wonders, I would say. It was like our saving grace. And I was like, okay, let's just, keep going with it and see what happens. And so come supper time, she would have the supper, and then like literally moments after, she would start flaring up again.
Yeah, and we're like freaking out again because we're like, it's something in the food.
No, it's
we're like, is it the peanut butter? Is it the noodles? Like,
is
what
it the rice?
on?
What is it? So we started freaking out again because she looked again bad.
Yeah,
it was almost like she's just gone all the way down, and it's just like all of a sudden red again, and she was itching all over again. Yeah. And so it got to the point where it was so bad, she was itching her back so bad, it was started bleeding
and scabbing, and then of course once you scab it gets itchy again, so she's like constantly like, so it was really stressful, and we're trying to get her to like rub instead of itching, but how do you tell a 2-year-old to not scratch? Like it was so stressful because we're like, we see what it's doing to her, she doesn't fully understand what's going on, we don't understand what's going on, but she doesn't need to know that. So it was so stressful. And then we would do, like, the Benadryl would only line up at certain times, right?
Yes.
And so at this point, you were like, okay, we need to get some itching cream.
Yeah, seriously. Because, like we need something else to kind of, like, to work when the Benadryl is wearing off. Because Benadryl, again, is every 6 hours. Yeah. As the pharmacist told us.
Yeah, so we thought.
Right.
So basically, at this point, we were really concerned about her health overall. We had no idea what was going on. We had no idea what was causing these flare-ups. We were just, like, in the dark about everything. So it was really, really stressful. And especially when you're someone like me who overthinks everything, I'm stressed to the max. So we had reached out to Tom's sister, who is an ER doctor, and she literally told us, like, if she is not having trouble breathing, if her tongue's not swollen, like anything like that, like there's really not much you can do aside from doing the Benadryl. So that was a defeat number one, because we're like, how long is this going to last?
Yeah.
We have no idea.
And the thing is, of course, Dr. Google says that it may last up to 3 months.
You know what? We know better.
I know, we should have known better.
Google, but when you're panicking, you don't know.
Why do we do that to ourselves?
I know. But yeah, then we were like, overthinking everything. We have a wedding coming up, and we're like, do we get to go to this wedding? Like, Tom's the best man. Like, are we going to have to cancel this? Is he just going to have to go? Like, I was doing a little getaway for myself. I'm like, can I even go to this? Like, I don't even know.
And, like, you needed a getaway.
I really needed a getaway.
Like, this girl really needed it, too.
Yeah.
She was stressed to the max, and the sickness during that week did not help at all.
Mm-hmm. And so let's dive into that again. I was sick as well. So I'm really sick. Peanut's sick and has these hives. Little lady was getting a little cold too because she's teething really bad. Her main front tooth was popping out at the time. So thankfully you were healthy-ish, more so than the rest of us. But then that leads to bedtimes.
Oh boy, the nightmares.
So stressful. Yeah. So of course she wakes up and she's really itchy and scratching, and I'm sick and I really can't function at this point. I've already lost so much sleep from being sick myself, from having the stress of the hives, from just everything. Like everything was piling on, and then she's coming into our room at night itching and scratching and, just upset, understandably. And then I'm like, is it the heat? Is she too hot? Like, what is going on? How do I combat this? It was so stressful.
And she would come in, and I think at one point she was up for a whole hour.
I was up for 2+ hours with her one night.
Seriously, just trying to calm her down, get her back to sleep.
I think you literally heard me say, like, I'm going to cry because I don't know what to do.
I did hear that, actually. Yeah, that's some of the moments I caught. That's just brutal. Mm-hmm. When you're sick, the kid's sick, and you don't know what to do, there's nothing to do, it really, really sucks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you just want to, like, help them, and you don't know how to help them. And you can only do the Benadryl. And then, so that was really, really stressful. Thankfully, Tom read instructions.
Hell right. Yes.
Tell him about the instructions, Tom.
So yeah, luckily I could read, I guess.
That helps.
High school helps, I guess. But no, I think I was just like, okay, let me look at this bottle. Like, let's see what the instructions are. And in the instruction of Benadryl, for all parents, it's 4 to 6 hours. No more than 20 milliliters per day.
All right, I was just going with what the pharmacist told me.
I would too.
Yeah, I'm just like, no, she said, not a doctor. Pharmacist, but still.
Went to school for 6-7 years, you know what I mean?
Exactly, like, they should know.
Yeah.
But she did tell me that, like, if that wasn't working after a couple days, that I should definitely take her to the doctor.
Yes, which we did.
Which is the next step. That's what we did. I booked her in, got an appointment, they squeezed her in, thankfully, and we go to the doctor.
Yeah, so this is on a Wednesday now, and the hive's been breaking out since Monday.
Yeah.
So we finally take her to the doctor, and you were the one who took her to the doctor. So,
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, so took her in, and, well, what one of the nurses had mentioned was, like, it could have been a breakout from a cold.
Which, likely, because she had a cold.
Yeah, so we're like, okay, that maybe lines up. Anyways, to this day, we still have no idea what triggered these hives. But that being said, took her to the doctor, and he didn't seem very concerned about it. He was just like, yeah, okay.
The heck?
And yeah, so took her in. Basically, long story short, they were like, you know what, we'll document it, we'll take pictures. And basically, you gotta wait it out,
What do you mean wait it out?
I'm like,
how long is it gonna be?
Really?
A week? 2 weeks?
Seriously?
We got a wedding to go to.
Yeah.
You gotta get away. We got to go camping. We go visit people who are camping over the weekend.
Yeah. So he basically said, if the Benadryl isn't changing her state of mind or anything like that, like you don't see a major difference aside from maybe drowsiness, like that's okay. Continue doing that. And I'm like, how long does she have to be on Benadryl? Like how many days? Like doesn't that seem kind of obscure to like give your child Benadryl like on a regular basis? All the time, daily, like for how,
she can be homeless on the streets, addicted to drugs.
Seriously, addicted to Benadryl. So anyways, so I'm like, okay. And he's like, you know what? If it's after the weekend, like ride it out to the weekend. If it's still not better, we can try some sort of steroids to help with an even stronger.
Give me some of those.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, really? Okay. So what a defeat. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, it was
so
a false
literally
victory.
there is nothing we can do.
Literally nothing
we have to wait it out.
It's just hopefully you wake up the next day and she gets better. Yeah. Hopefully her body works like it's supposed to, and then that's that. So that's all we have coming home.
And that's all we did.
That's all we did.
That's what we had to do.
Yep.
We waited it out, and then it was very alarming because her body was getting better, but her face.
All right. So this is literally the next day now. This is on a Thursday. Yeah. I got up with her and I walked in her room and she literally looked like she just had a rough boxing night. Looks like she sparred with no helmet on.
Tomato face, like, oh
just
man.
All swollen. And I looked at her and I started laughing. And then she started laughing. So it was super cute. We were both laughing at each other.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so, her face didn't look too great, so, which was kind of worrying because I was like, oh man, it's still sticking around. Like, what are we going to do? Mm-hmm. I think we continue giving her Benadryl. We continue put an itch cream where it itches, and just really hope for the best the next day. And so Friday comes. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. It was gone.
Yeah.
And so...
Or like very, very minor spots left.
Yeah, very, very minor. She looks so much better. And we just praised her for how well she did.
Yeah.
She was such a trooper. So...
Yeah, it was like... I know it might not sound, like that big of a deal, but it was such a big deal.
Yeah.
When you've never dealt with something like this before. And like, that's the funny thing is we've never really had to deal with major problems like this until Peanut became around like over 2 years old, So it's just like we're getting hit with all of these things and when it rains, it pours.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, so. Seriously, it literally poured. When you, Little Peanut, Little Lady was all sick and it was just me, that's when it pours.
Yeah, thank you for being as strong as you are because, man, it's the worst thing is taking care of somebody when you're sick.
Yeah.
And they're also sick.
Yeah.
And not getting any sleep.
Because you're coughing.
Yeah, like it's just brutal.
Yeah.
So.
All right. So I guess looking back now, which is literally just last week, what would you do differently? Anything?
I don't know.
What about more oatmeal baths?
More oatmeal baths.
I mean, you know what? For those out there, just try it. Like,
Can I have an oatmeal bath?
I want an oatmeal bath too. So, like, we went to London Drugs, and they had oatmeal bath, like, kits that you can buy. I really want to buy one of those.
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds pretty nice.
Put little blueberries in there.
Oh, just, like, eat your bath
Just
as you're bathing.
Eat in your bath. Put a little syrup in there.
Oh, that sounds... I don't know.
Sounds weird.
That sounds... I don't know.
But very interesting.
Yeah, what would I do different? I mean, obviously, I know now how to, like, respond a little bit better, so... I don't know. How do you say that to somebody? Like, how would you change the next time? Because it's like, well, I already know what I went through, so I know how to be better next time already.
I feel like we did a decent job of really just staying calm for everybody, right? Like, we weren't over panicking, and so we just had to do what we had to do and just focus on the next step.
Mm-hmm.
Get the Benadryl. That didn't work. Okay, get the itchy cream. Okay, that worked. Okay, let's book an appointment. Yeah. Let's call whoever where we can call to get help.
Yeah.
All right, so we have some other great videos, which is how do we raise a non-picky eater? And then we have another gooder, which is how do we sleep train our kids to sleep 10 plus hours a night when they're not sick?
Thank you guys so much for watching. We love you. Everyone that is supporting us, like, we are so grateful. Give us a like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.
Ciao.